Still dealing with trauma after a job from over a year and a half ago. IF27 don't even know why this is still bothering me, but every once in a while I just get like a couple days where I'm just so depressed about a past job and how toxic it was. So I guess I'm going to vent about it. There were issues from almost the beginning, when a covert narcissist who was my cousin's friend kept bullying me and making up lies to get me in trouble with HR. When my cousin stopped being her friend because my cousin and I are basically like sisters, it got worse. Luckily, HR never believed the bully, but they also didn't believe or support me, especially since the bully's father was one of the higher-ups. There were many nights where I couldn't sleep because of the anxiety, and I was crying so much. I wanted to quit, but also couldn't because I started this job during the middle of the pandemic. I honestly should have just said, fuck it, and quit. My then boss at the time was amazing and moved me to a different campus to work at. Working under her with my teammate was amazing. I was happy for about half a year. After half a year, my amazing teammate got a promotion and there was reorganizing done where I was put under a different supervisor who reported to my amazing boss. Due to the promotions and reorganizing, we were understaffed, and I was left to do 3 people's jobs alone. Right when I was ready to quit, they hired 2 amazing girls. However, after a month, they moved them away. So I was alone again. During this time, my recurrent illness came back, and my ears and throat were sore and clogged. Even though I had talked to my supervisor about my illness, and she said it was fine, and to do what I could while understaffed, that only lasted a week. The recurrent illness is mono, by the way. This supervisor started tearing into me about how I was lazy, how I needed to put my big girl pants on, how I was underperforming, etc. She was mad that I had let 3 phone calls go down the line to the other staff members when maintenance was vacuuming the floors and I couldn't hear. I explained to her that despite being understaffed and I had been taking care of 3 people's jobs on my own, and that those calls were not answered because maintenance was vacuuming and I would call them back. She just saw this as me being whiny. I was about to quit again when they hired another amazing person. The supervisor, like this coworker, let's call her M. And I liked M a lot too. However, supervisor began dumping all of M's mistakes onto me, even after M said it was her. This supervisor just kept dumping work on me, and when I tried to stand up for myself, she'd double down. M stood up for me, but things were getting rough again now that I was a problem child. While dealing with this, I also got to deal with horrifically abusive parents of students, and the whole thing was a shit show. I wanted to quit again, but then found out I was expecting, which was a terrifying but exciting surprise. I was told I couldn't have kids, so my husband and I were excited. However, this made me feel trapped, as working at the college gave me amazing benefits and health insurance. I was constantly anxious and eventually went to my previous boss, my supervisor, and told her everything. She told me that there was a spot opening at a different campus closer to my home in November, which was 3 months away. Due to not being able to find my replacement, the bad campus held on to me until the end of December, and almost every day was hell. M made work bearable, though, as she believed me and stood up for me. Now, this is what I think is really bothering me. Before I left for the closer campus, I had to have a one-on-one with the bad supervisor. She didn't give me any negative feedback, just mentioned that I should improve my communication skills. This got me a little fiery, but honestly, everyone can improve there, and I just wanted things to be peaceful before I was finally free. When it got to my portion of giving her feedback, I stick to the main work process and further improvements for students. I wish I had been totally honest and just told her how I couldn't handle the micromanaging, the negativity, and getting others' work dumped on me. I wish I had stood up for myself. I wish I had pointed out her hypocrisy and how she used me as a scapegoat. But I didn't. I was afraid, and pregnant, and worn out. When I got to the new campus, things were great. The other coworker there, A, had gone through similar things, as had the girls before her. Things were great there, and I felt safe. At the end of my maternity leave, we learned that the bad supervisor from HQ was getting a promotion to be over all the campuses again. So all of us, including our manager, quit at the same time. M, who became a friend, told me about how it's become a shit show and how, even after I left, the bad supervisor was shit-talking me. M had been promoted out from under that soup, so she ripped her a new one and told the new hires not to listen to the gossip. Anyways, this is just a long list of emotional vomit, but sometimes, for a couple days or so, my brain just really fixates on my bad work experience, and I'm filled with sadness and anger. Maybe it's because my hormones are changing from weaning, but I hate that I care. I wish I didn't. I'm grateful I stuck things out so I could have my birth covered 100% by the double benefits my husband and I had. and I'm grateful that I was able to save up enough money to be a som for the first few years. But I'm angry I didn't stand up for myself, that I didn't just quit, and that I let myself be put in that situation. And I'm angry that all the negativity still comes back and haunts me after over a year of being free. TLDR, still feeling sad, anxious, and angry after a year and a half of being out of a toxic job environment. I, female 20, am iffy on how my partner male has been dealing with his ex-BFF suicide, even thought they weren't friends for the entirety of our relationship. Good morning. As of recently, my partner's ex-F20 from when they were 14 but had been best friends growing up has recently committed suicide, which has been quite difficult for my partner, and while I understand, I'm also a bit iffy about it. The reason is because they have not spoken to each other since the starting of our relationship, which was 3.5 years ago. And last time they had seen each other, she had sexually assaulted him while his girlfriend at the time was in the house. He was told he cheated. And that's how he kind of took it until he told me the story of what happened, and I explained to him that no means no, and under no circumstances does it mean yes. So their friendship dissipated, and he said he hated her, and every time she would try and sell us some weed, he'd decline, even if it meant that he would have to wait till the next day. So in her last days, they never spoke and weren't actually friends at all, but when she committed on Saturday, it was like a 180. My partner has never experienced death before, not once, and so I am super understanding of how vulnerable he is because they still were friends and they still connected with each other over trauma, etc. So my problem doesn't lie with him being sad about her death. It's about how much he's actually immersed himself into it by friending her parents on Facebook, who are the reason she even took her life. Amongst other things, writing notes saying wishing I could fix everything and be your friend again, Rippy, which I was a little hurt over, seeing as he's not once said that in our relationship, even though we are currently going through a rough patch. I'm constantly telling him I feel unloved, and so when he writes those notes, knowing what she was like, it feels a bit distasteful, because he's saying he'd be friends with her again if she was alive, even if it meant it would have led to complications in our relationship because she didn't like other females, especially me. He's also easily coerced, to the point that he's cheated on me before because he let his friends get into his head. This was at the starting of our relationship. He's been visiting the spot she did it at, lying about it to me, and talking to everyone else about it but me. I feel excluded, like as if it's just him and her now. He defends her in a hot second, but not once did he show that kind of emotion when I was telling him that I felt unloved and pushed aside. I lost my uncle this morning to cancer, and I've also lost an ex to a car accident, so I know how he's feeling. But I didn't post about my ex. I didn't visit the spot and post notes about him because we were almost strangers in the last years of his life. I also did it out of respect for my partner because the past is in the past to me. I grieved for him, but from afar. My partner is acting like they're still best friends, but this is the real kicker for me. I've always had a photo folder from my partner on my phone, and it's never bothered me that he didn't have one of me until he made one just for her. Photos of just her. None of me are in his gallery, and I just feel hopeless. I'll never be her, I know that. I never grew up like her and my partner, so I can't relate like she can. My partner opened up to her all the time and has been telling me how she was always there for him, and I just want to cry because I've always opened myself up for him, and he just can't open up to me. I told him he should be sad about her passing the minute he found out, and I feel so horrible that I'm making it about me because I truly don't believe she deserved that. But I've always thought that maybe if he gave me that treatment, I wouldn't be so bothered. I think it bothers me too because when I did point out him missing being friends with her, he said he couldn't be friends with her because he wasn't allowed and because I wouldn't let him. Yes, because she doesn't like me. You guys weren't friends when I came on the scene. She sexually assaulted you while your girlfriend was in the house and did it to multiple people. Like, why is that someone you'd want to be friends with? And I'm just confused as to why he thinks it would be okay to be friends with his ex, but he wouldn't be okay with me doing that. I'm just seeking some advice on how to approach this, and if it's just a grieving process for him, I want to be there for him. It's been 3.5 years, and I don't want to throw that away, but my heart yearns for this sweet and affectionate man, and I just don't want to break him in this already. Vulnerable time. TLDR, iffy on how my F20 partner M19 is dealing with his excess suicide. He's posted notes saying he wishes he could fix everything. Has a gallery on his phone dedicated to her, but not one single photo of me. Said it's my fault he couldn't hang out with her because she sexually assaulted him and multiple other guys, and also hated me, so I find it distasteful for him to even want the friendship back, considering I'd never do that to him. Met her parents times in his life and friended them on Facebook, and had not spoken to his ex for the entirety of our relationship, and said on multiple occasions he hates her. I'm just wanting advice on how to approach this. I'm not doing well in my friend groups. English is not my first language. Sorry for the typos. Also, the text might sound narcissistic, and that is because it is the only way and place I talk about myself. I had to get it off my chest, and here I go explaining myself. I recently understood a thing. I do not have value in my friend groups. You know how most people have more friend groups. One from university school, one from the old friends around the neighborhood, one from the student network you work in, one from X, one from Y, to tell the truth. I have a handful of such groups. From the outside it may seem like I have a lot of friends. A lot. But in truth, I think I only have 2, maybe 3 friends. What happened recently is this. I have this international group of friends. One of the friends is, let us just say, quite the bad friend. He made plans while he had plans with us, said nothing about it, and when asked about if a certain time, which would be the next day, the day of our event is good for him, he said he had other plans, although he already agreed to ours. Later that night, at 2 a.m., he said that he no longer could do the other plans, so he came back to ours like, hey, we can do the thing tomorrow, not a shred of dignity. The same guy started talking someone from the friend group behind her back with other cooler people, and that led to some bad stuff. Yet he was forgiven. What irks me the most is this guy left for his country, and guess what? The friend group was in tears, even the girl whose reputation he hurt. Also today, I learnt something. I was talking to a friend, one of the few I know are real, and he was telling me that he was talking to our old friend group, former classmates and neighbors, and as he was, they mentioned they would do a D&D campaign this weekend, and that he should join them. One small thing, that friend group lives close by to me. One was my best friend when we were in school who I met last week and said we should hang out more. One of them is the guy I always call to come out when we go to play board games, go do sports and other stuff. Guess what? They said nothing. No message. Not even in an open group. To add insult to injury, another friend group started disrespecting me, like seriously not caring about what they say to me, and in this period it really is not doing me favors. Guess what? I feel that if I somehow disappeared, went away, or anything of the sort, they would not care. I need to get this off my chest because it genuinely hurts. I cannot talk to anybody else, not even my family. I genuinely have that kind of a perfect happy family, all happy and successful. If I came in with my young adult problems, they would worry far too much. They would have my stress on their heads, and who knows what would happen. Sure, they would try to be supportive, but in this case, I just feel like they will tire both themselves and me out. I cannot talk to my friends because of this funny thing. I am the rock. By that I mean that I am the one they lean on when they have problems. I used to be a very lonely child, and I learned how to talk, how to listen, how to truly listen to someone, not faking it to get to say my piece. I learned to be there, to really be there when nobody was, to be good to anyone, and even if I had hatred in my heart, to genuinely help people, including that bad guy from the start. And I have nobody to talk to. I would make new friends, but it is just going to happen again and again and again. I actually put my soul into what I do for other people, and I am not sure this can really go on. Moreover, I expect to receive some comments like, "You are ugly, bro. That is why this happens." If that were true, it would be a good enough. I would be content. But I know it is not true. How do I know this? Easy. Not only that I have an amazing, smart, kind girlfriend who I feel loved by, but of course cannot tell my problems to, not only because of the same reason as my family, but she also has her own problems that I always listen to. If the wheel were to turn, I am afraid she would not find me as dependable, but also when friends post pictures with me, they get replies with, "Oh, who is that?" and quite often a new follower on Instagram. So it has to be that I am not important myself, not how I look. I must be boring or something. But I know a lot of stuff. I am talkative. I know a varied field of things. I play a lot of sports and games. Am open-minded. Why am I not good enough? If I went to some of my friends and talked about it, they would feel awkward and leave. If I were to talk to those I consider close friends, I am genuinely afraid I was wrong about them. If I were to talk to my family, they would stress themselves to no end at all. I am tired of helping people out at their worst, to be forgotten sooner or later. Tired to better myself and still be taken for granted. Tired of getting better and still having no value. I just want to be wanted and to have someone I can actually depend on and tell my problems to. Wife 38 female kicked M40 male out last Tuesday. I am now homeless. Forgive me all, this is going to be a huge post to make, but please, it's my life ATM and I don't want too many TLDR because I know, but I need to get this off my chest and be open. I'm not looking for people to jump to my defense or to dogpile on anybody. I just want honest thoughts, advice, help. I understand that I may be about to invoke everybody to hate on me even. If so, that's okay. Sorry for mass typos. Last Tuesday, everything was perfect. I was a dad to a beautiful 7, nearly 8-year-old girl. I was a husband to a gorgeous wife. I had a home, a life, a future. And today, I am homeless and fighting for my life. Tuesday was like any normal holiday day. I hit the gym, tried to do my best, hoped for a good one. My wife had taken my little girl out and had just come back. She knocked on the gym door and asked me what we were doing that night, and I replied with, "Nothing, love." "You said we wasn't?" She then had a little back and forth about how she only said that as I wasn't feeling well the night before. Nothing, really. I then look over at her and notice she looks really withdrawn, ill, really, just not herself. "Are you okay, love? You look really ill?" "Yeah, I'm fine. Is that why you don't want to go out with me later? You're ashamed to be seen with me?" Now, honestly, this woman is gorgeous. I'm not just saying that. She is beautiful, a proper, you're-punching type girl, far more attractive than I deserve. She walks off and locks the door behind me, which is odd. I knock the door, tell her, "Sorry, force of habit." She then goes into the house and I finish up. I go to the house and it's locked. Sorry, force of habit. Okay, weird. She's never done that before. In fact, she usually forgets, but okay. I go into the house and now the issues start. I notice the house isn't in a good way. There is food on the side and floor. There are plates from the previous night on the counter. Bags pulled out, things not washed. Even the kitchen table was in 2 pieces. Now hold up. Context: I have a medical condition, myalgic encephalomyelitis. I also have a non-functioning bowel. This means I am constantly tired, run down, and low. The gym, not for guns and a six-pack. It's because I need to stay active. But my wife also has medical. She has endometriosis and is sadly waiting on a total hysterectomy. It's not been easy for either of us, and stresses have been really high. But I have tried constantly to talk. She refuses to do so. I walk into the living room and inquire why the house is a state. The living room is just as bad. We do a little bickering. Standard married couple boring stuff. Upstairs I go, and the bathroom is flooded. My daughter, bless her, went to the loo, didn't quite flush right, and has flooded the floor. Bits of stuff everywhere. So I have to clean it. I go down and ask what the hell is going on. I can't keep being the only cleaner in our home, and it is sadly always me, and the conversation gets heated. I get arsy, and she gets defensive, but still standard relationship argument. She then cries, which I will admit, she does easy. At this point, her parents come to ours, and we are still rowing. She gets more defensive and I get more upset because I really shouldn't have to keep doing this. I keep asking you for help and you keep letting me down. I can't keep doing this, love. You know I need help. She runs off to the toilet and locks herself in. I try and calm the situation and say, "I can't apologize if you're locked in the toilet." Then I walk off. And that's why I do something awful. Bring up the ex. Even though I've been married 10 years, I stop to a stupid low level. Why don't you f*** off back to person? At least his partner's a cleaner and she can pick up after you. He was good enough when he was head-butting you in the face and nearly breaking your nose. Context: this man is best friends with the dad. I have it lauded over me often, and the dad is right there. At this point, our daughter comes in, and I've done this utterly stupid moronic thing in front of everybody. And yes, I am an absolute moron who just made a huge mistake. She comes back down, and I try talking, but it's the same. She's always on her phones, doesn't help me, doesn't spend as much time with our daughter, and it's got more stressful in recent times. I have tried to talk with her about all this before, but she has shown no interest and insists it's just that she's busy. But she gets up early, goes to work, comes home mega late, then sits on her phone while I get tea, spend time with our daughter, and just do what I can. It isn't going anywhere, but I've already been an idiot. So plan B, I say I'm going, and walk out to let things calm down. I come back a little while later, and no, not at all. In fact, my wife turns to me and says, "It's over. No more. Just go." Now, at this point, you may ask how often we fight. Honestly, not that often. Every month or so. Never huge, just standard bickering. In fact, this wasn't even a big one, just a really stupid one. Never violence or cheating, etc. So I get a bag and take a few things, thinking this will blow over. It did not. In fact, I was out the house the whole day until I asked if I could come home. She said she didn't want me near the house. I asked if I could sleep in T garage and she agreed, saying I could go in the house the next day as she was at work. Now I stay here a while, but by now it goes dark. Not just outside, but in my mind too. I start getting dark thoughts. My wife has locked me in a garage in the cold. I have a medical condition which makes my body fail, and she's telling me to go. So I grab some rope and begin making a noose, and I stand over it, and my heart breaks. My wife is telling me she doesn't want me and there is no way back, constantly texting me the same, "This is my decision" message, and it just goes dark in my mind. Just as I'm about to do anything, my phone rings. It's my friends. They were concerned about me as I told them what happened. They were on their way. They come to the home, bang the door. Wife doesn't care, doesn't answer. They come in and see me breaking down. I'm a mess. Indoor have done anything, but I'm a mess. Lower than low. They take me to a friend's house where I spend a few hours before walking back to my garage and waiting until my wife leaves. But my wife has locked the door. No way in, can't get my things, can't get my medicine, my clothes, anything. So I go. And I spend the next night sleeping outside in the rain. My wife doesn't want to know, despite me having a lifelong medical condition that has stopped me living a normal life. I'm now sleeping in the rain. Alone. I spend the next few days sleeping rough. Or the one night I don't, at a friend's house in his boy's bed. They tried to feed me, but I hardly ate. Then back to the outdoors. I go every so often to my dad's to wash and charge my phone. My dad has severe COPD and is on end of life. My mom doesn't talk to me anymore. I tried to reach out, but she told me to f off and die, and it made me even lower. My wife still doesn't care I'm homeless, but allows me brief video call with my daughter. I start to get emotional, as this is the first time I've spoken to her, so tell her after a while I have to go. I don't want her seeing me like that. The next day, my wife allows me to go get some things from the house. She is stone-faced to me, but laughing and joking like it's all normal to everybody else. Not a care in the world. I get in the car, and my friends stay to talk on my behalf. They ask if I can have my key back as I am legally entitled to live there. We have a mortgage, and are both on there. We both pay our way. She says no. It's already with a solicitor, which is fast. I can't get in my house, and my wife still knows I'm homeless, sick, and with nothing. The next day, I get an email from the solicitor. I can't see my wife and child, and I'm to stay away. I can't go near the house or stay there. The reason? Because I've been mentally unstable this last week and I need to fix myself before I can see her. But I am to permanently stay away from the house. Now this part troubles me, as what exactly do they expect me to be? Happy? And to top it all off, I get a call from the council telling me they can offer me zero help, either financially or with emergency housing because I own a mortgage. A mortgage she won't let me have my part of. All of this is a single week. I went from happy with everything to homeless with nothing in 1 week. I don't want money. I want my life back. I see the issues with what I did wrong that day, and believe me, I am sorry. I've spent the last week homeless, freezing cold. I've hardly eaten. I can't afford a hotel. I'm in so much pain because she won't allow me my medicine but also won't allow me to rest at our home that I legally own, but the solicitor is telling me I can't return to. I'm broken, afraid, and scared. But most of all, I am sorry. TLDR Wide and I had a normal relationship spat. I am vulnerable health-wise and have been living homeless this last week. She won't let me live in the mortgaged home.